Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why you can't stop procrastinating even though you really want to get things done? Well, this new study might have a clue. We all make plans, right? Like, I will exercise more or I will finish that report by Friday. But why is it that sometimes those plans work perfectly and other times they just don't? Today we're diving into a fascinating new framework that tries to explain exactly that. It is all about how we form intentions to reach our goals and why some intentions are super effective while others just fizzle out. Think of it like building a bridge from where you are now to where you want to be. Some bridges are sturdy and reliable, while others are a bit wobbly. Researchers Sucharit, Katyal, Thor, Grünbaum, and Søren Kyllingsbæk are proposing a new way to understand why. They're not just saying that some plans work better, but how and why from a more scientific, like a computational viewpoint. So, we form intentions all the time. We say, I will call my friend today. Or I'm going to start that new hobby this week. And usually, just forming that intention makes us more likely to do it. That has been shown in tons of studies. But, as we all know, many intentions just never turn into actions. It is a huge puzzle for how we manage ourselves. Now, there is a really cool idea that has been around for a while called implementation intentions. It is a bit of a mouthful, but it is basically about making your plan super specific. Instead of I will call my friend today, you make it after I finish dinner, I will call my friend. This tiny change, linking your action to a specific situation or cue, makes a big difference. Studies show these if-then plans really boost our chances of actually doing what we intend to do. They're like putting a strong foundation under your intention bridge. But here's the puzzle. Why doesn't this always work? Existing theories explain that these specific cues make the action easier to remember and launch. But they don't really explain how much specificity is good or why it doesn't always help. Sometimes these super specific plans don't help much or can even be a bit of a problem. This happens when the situation isn't exactly as you planned. Or when things are a bit unpredictable, it seems like there is a trade-off between being really precise and being flexible. Another area where current theories fall a bit short is on how we think about our future selves. When you make an intention, you are kind of guessing what you'll be like later. Will you notice the cue? Will you remember? Will you actually do it? This aspect of thinking about your future performance, your confidence in your own actions, doesn't seem to be fully factored into how we form intentions. This is where the new research comes in. The authors are proposing a computational framework. Don't let that word scare you. It just means they're using a mathematical model to describe how our brains might be making decisions about our intentions. They see forming an intention as a kind of future decision-making process. Their framework has three main ingredients that work together to decide if an intention will be effective. First, the subjective value of the goal. This is simply how much you really want that goal, how important it is to you. A goal you care a lot about is going to be a stronger motivator. This is about the anticipated importance or worth of achieving something. It's like weighing the good stuff you get, the bad stuff, and how long you have to wait. If a goal seems really valuable, you are more likely to want to do it and stick with it. This value is super important for even deciding to form an intention in the first place. The second ingredient is context specificity. This is that if-then idea we talked about. It is how much you link your goal to a particular time, place, or situation. It is not just a yes or no thing, but more of a dial. On one end, you have general goals, and on the other, you have super specific if-then plans. Increasing this specificity makes the action easier to trigger when you see the cue, which is great for efficiency, but it also means you might miss opportunities if the situation isn't exactly right. So it's a balance between being precise and being able to adapt. The third ingredient is super interesting: metacognitive evaluation of future execution. This sounds complicated, but it's basically about how confident you are that you'll actually do what you intend to do when the time comes. It is your self-assessment of your future abilities. Will you notice the cue? Will you remember? Will distractions get in the way? This is where your confidence in your own future performance matters. Think of it like this. You have the value of the goal, how specific you are about when and where you'll do it, and how confident you are that you'll actually pull it off. All three of these things work together. Now, for the computational part, they built a model that describes how these three components, which they call V for value, gamma for context specificity, and M for metacognitive confidence, interact. The model looks at our daily routine as a sequence of states or moments. Imagine you are going through your evening. You come home, prepare dinner, eat, watch television, go to sleep. At each moment, you have a choice: either move to the next normal activity or pursue your goal. The model uses equations to figure out the probability of choosing the goal versus moving on. This probability depends on the value of the goal and how well the current moment fits with the intention. This figure is a neat illustration. With no intention, the chance of calling your friend is super low at any point. With a general goal intention, it is a little better and more spread out. But with an implementation intention, like calling right after dinner, the probability is very high at that specific time, and a bit lower at other times, especially if you are confident. The parameters gamma and m in their model are key. Gamma controls how strongly the intention is tied to a specific cue. If gamma is 1, it's just a general goal intention. As gamma goes up, the intention becomes more specific. The parameter m controls how much you suppress pursuing the goal outside of that specific context. And this is linked to your confidence. If you are super confident, you are more willing to ignore other times to do it at the right time. They then calculate the overall probability that you'll achieve your goal by the end of your routine. This is the final outcome based on all these factors. So, what does this model predict that is new and exciting? First, it confirms that as the subjective value of a goal increases, so does the chance of pursuing it. This makes sense. This is where it gets really interesting. The model suggests that the benefit of making your plan more specific isn't always a straight line. Sometimes when specificity is low, the chance of success can actually dip a bit. This could happen if you are only a little specific and you are also suppressing the action in other contexts. You might miss the one cue you picked and also not do it at other potentially good times. This is a major prediction for goals that are already easy to achieve or in situations where you are highly motivated. Making your plan more specific might not help much or could even be slightly detrimental. Why? Because you are already doing pretty well, and the extra specificity might just make you less flexible without a big gain. This aligns with studies that show implementation intentions don't always yield huge benefits when motivation is already sky high or the task is very easy. The really novel part here is that the way value and specificity interact isn't always straightforward, and that sometimes adding more specificity can actually lead to a dip in success. Especially at first, these are predictions that don't easily come from just comparing general goals to specific if-then plans. They arise from the interplay between how specific you are and how confident you are. This figure beautifully illustrates those predictions. Look at the panels going from left to right. Notice how the dip at low context specificity appears as metacognitive confidence increases. This highlights that how much you downregulate out of context pursuit, based on your confidence, is crucial. If you are super confident, you might shut down other opportunities too much if your specific cue doesn't appear. So, what does this all mean for us? This framework suggests that optimal intention formation isn't just about picking the right strategy, but about aligning these three components: value, specificity, and confidence. The best plan is one where the precision of your intention is just right for the value you place on the goal, and how confident you are that you can execute it. If a goal is super valuable, and you are very confident, then high specificity might be great. But if the goal isn't that valuable, or you are unsure you'll succeed, then being too specific could be a problem. This framework really highlights a fundamental trade-off: efficiency versus flexibility. Being very specific and highly motivated makes you efficient, but less flexible. Being less specific and less confident keeps you flexible, but potentially less efficient. Sometimes being too rigid can lead to giving up when plans go awry. On the other hand, not being focused enough can lead to constant distractions. And here is another key takeaway: we can adapt. Our metacognitive confidence isn't fixed. If our specific plans keep failing, we might naturally lower our confidence and become more flexible in our intentions. If they keep succeeding, our confidence grows and we might stick with more specific plans. This suggests we can learn over time which intention strategies work best for us in different situations. This research is a big step forward because it integrates different levels of analysis. It connects social psychology theories about motivation with computational models of how we make decisions. It also shines a spotlight on metacognition, our awareness of our own thinking and confidence. Instead of seeing intention failures as just a lack of willpower, this model suggests that poor estimations of our future abilities can play a huge role. This is a really important point. How accurately we estimate our capacity to act in the future can explain a lot of why some people struggle more than others with goal pursuit. There is so much more to explore. How do we learn and update our confidence in our ability to stick to intentions? How do this interact with goal value and specificity in real life? This research could also have implications for fields like neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and even helping people with psychological challenges like anxiety or depression. where managing intentions and future planning is often difficult. So, in a nutshell, intentions are like bridges connecting our present decisions to our future actions. This new framework shows that the strength of these bridges depends not just on how much we want something, but on how specifically we plan and how realistically we assess our own future capability. It is a beautiful integration of different ideas that helps us understand how we plan, how we adapt, and ultimately, how we pursue the goals that matter to us. What do I think of this research? I think it is brilliant because it moves beyond just saying, make a specific plan, and gives us a much richer understanding of the underlying mechanisms. It acknowledges that our confidence in ourselves is just as important as the goal itself, and that being too rigid can be just as problematic as being too unfocused. The idea that we can adapt our intention strategies based on experience is really empowering. It suggests that learning to manage our confidence and our specificity is key to better self-regulation. For future research, I'd love to see more studies that directly manipulate these three components: value, specificity, and metacognitive confidence, and see how they play out in real-world scenarios, not just lab tasks. Also exploring how people's personalities or past experiences influence their metacognitive evaluations would be fascinating. So, what do you think? Have you ever found yourself being too specific with your plans and it backfiring? Or maybe too general? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more dives into the fascinating world of psychology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.